welcome, and this is the Grassroots Education and Entertainment Network, your number one source of information, education, and entertainment. For honest, responsible, and dependable information, we stand supreme. To stay focused, inspired, and relaxed, choose
Baba Iwaliwa Daniel John.
Well, welcome again. Well, sorry, the little delay. Is it technical difficulties? Well, I say welcome again to another discussions, Ifa Orisa discussions in this news, or I say season 2. Again, to all who now joining back, Happy New Year's to the Gregorian calendar and thing. But I think we are looking to have a lot of discussions on the feminine energies in Ifa tradition, or the feminine energies in Ifa tradition. Supposed to get into contact with a sister who will at least give her little understanding as to her experience into the spirituality. Baba, had she number or?
No, well, I communicated with her, and we waiting. I sent her an invitation just now, and she's supposed to be joining us anytime.
All right, I think she says she will more want to do voice and thing, but is understanding how we look at feminine energies in the aspect of the tradition, not a woman business and woman affairs. You know, it does have a difference when they deal with women issues aspect, but you talk about the feminine energies of the tradition and how they correlate in terms of our development and how
Baba, we could speak about the feminine energy, but only from a theoretical perspective.
Yeah. Well, now this was saying in the
to bring the balance,
aspect, to bring the balance, the sister talk from a feminine female experience, but in terms of how we as Awos and Babalawos and sorcerers, spiritualists, how do we see and how do we really recognize feminine energy in terms of our growth and development? In one Iwetemeji is Yodu, I want to read the Ology, but there's a statement where we say we must bend our knees for women. Women brought us into the world. That's what makes us human. Women are the spirit of the earth. Bend your knees for women. It doesn't really mean about submitting yourself or giving yourself all, but to give that level of respect to the feminine energy that the woman will represent and how we could go. Because, there's a statement we just use, no nation can rise higher than its women. And as a politician practicing, I looked at the era when most of the women were ruling. I think in the era with Kamala Persad, Bisesa, yeah, the German had a female ruler. Jamaica, it was Brazil at the time as well, Australia, and I think Argentina as well. A number of countries had female was running it, and the whole world was going in a direction of a kind of balance, a kind of smoothness. If you look today, Maya Mottley, the Prime Minister of Barbados, is making a great impact, but she's more bringing out the spirit of nationhood rather than political. We try to, our male leaders try to project politics, but she's bringing out what they call the essence of social movement moving forward in terms of bringing that spirit of democracy in what democracy really supposed to mean. So I think
Baba, I don't know. Well, the show is not a political show.
No, not political.
We normally don't talk politics, but I will indulge you a little bit this afternoon.
Right. No, in terms of looking at how she brought a victory speech, it was, you saw the feminine, a conscious female bringing out what is the purpose and how a nation is supposed to move forward. And it's something I think we're supposed to inculcate in our female spiritual leaders, because sometimes when we see we are moving away from a level of stability in our community as the Ifa Orisa practitioners, I think we really give the female leaders or female authorities that forum in which they could talk. You know, we'll hear a lot of awos and babalawos trying to ratify, but you know, that where the ELO days, you know, Shangumi,
But Baba,
Shango
I don't think the share locally limits the responsibilities, the duties, and the position of women. I don't think that is at all the case. If you were to look at most of the old organizations from which the Ifa practice branched off, you would find that practically all of the old Orisha movement and organizations and many of the shrines were in fact run by women.
No, they were run by women, but I'm talking about in terms of where we are now today, in terms of where there are issues to basically discuss. That forum, I mean, they're supposed to have a Ifa Women's Association, all right? They may be having their programs, whatnot, but in terms of where there's a forum where they deal with issues, social issues, and they are given that level of respect to say, okay, what are we as a male, the generative energy, what are we to do, or what should we now do to bring about helping the change? All right.
Yeah, well, Baba, I would say this much. For the duration of time that this planet has been dominated by men as rulers, we've experienced a lot of very difficult times. And I would say this much. In the time when women ruled, because there was such a time, I wouldn't say there was an absence of problems, but it was not, the earth was not the way it is today in all the chaos.
Right. Now what you are talking about in a historical perspective in terms of years gone by, and I was just putting that same concept in basically just the last 10 years ago, where there were a level of just prosperity, success, you know, everything was just moving in a balanced state because of that motherly nature that basically was holding most of the senior power. Even if, you know, so it's really to say how our environment does be when we allow Mother Nature.
All right,
even
Baba,
as Babla Udu.
Your guest is on the set with us, so I would let you set up the introduction.
All right.
For the guest that you having on this afternoon, and I would sort of just fall into the background and do the technical work. All right. So you can go ahead and
all right, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce Grand Queen Simone Andel. Sister, are you there?
Pleasant evening.
Pleasant evening. All right. I think I'll allow you to give your portfolio or your levels of office expertise as how you wish people to know you. I may know you as Grand Queen, you know, and other levels, but in terms of how would you like the public to know in terms of who's speaking and what is your experience in terms of speaking on behalf of women?
Well, I usually go by my initiated name, Mut Asaperet, under the title of Grand Queen. I don't usually use my birth certificate name.
Okay. So it's a Grand Queen Nut?
Mut Asaperet.
Okay.
Mut represents Mut, Mat, as in the mother.
The mother of justice and divine laws.
Yes.
Okay.
And As represents Isis. Isis being the Greek name. As being her Kemetic name.
Okay.
And Seperet represents the star under which I was initiated under.
All right. A lot for you to hold. So that means there's a lot of influence in terms of your elevation into the spirituality. What? So I'd like to welcome you on in terms of sharing in the discussions this evening with us. Well, one of the things I was looking at in terms of looking at the phrase, no nation can rise higher than its women. and how in terms of the feminine influence, both in political and spiritual aspect, you would see a level of growth. As even Baba Ifa was speaking about in long time, most of the shrine was run by female, right? And there was a certain particular growth and balance and discipline. You know, now, well, everybody is a Baba something, even I is Baba Mello, you know, and that love, that discipline, that kind of humility, that kind of calmness that used to transcend in the spiritual area of the Ifa Orisa practice. I know, what is your view as it of it today in terms of the influence of the feminine energies?
Yes, I would say it was run by females, but it always had a male underline and a male undertone and dominance to it. Because in essence, in Trinidad, we have this attitude. They have a machonistic attitude. And even though the women were the forefront runners in the shrine, they still had to seek permission, whether it be permission or
well, let me
acceptance
just
from the
interject in
male
a
dominance.
little. Let me just interject in a way. I think it was basically how the structure was at time, because you know the Mumba and the butcher all were male, and you know they had was to basically give these fellas these rules, because most time the practice was around feast. You know, really didn't have that where it was a way of life collectively in terms of how we project it now today. So that point where in terms of the male was dominating the feast yard, but remember after the feast is the mother really control her space. You know, but I understand what you're saying, that male dominance in it, you know, because this what I say, there's certain cultural balances that we don't really see the disadvantage, or where we can see the advantages in it, and make it a discussion that we can see how we can better it, how we can make it more balanced for our community to grow.
In order to make it balanced, we need to teach. We need to teach the populace. We need to educate them, whether it be on Ifa philosophy or certain structured philosophy based on woman empowerment, the superiority of the woman, the feminine divinity, you know, that was taken away from us by religion and circumstance, slavery,
Well,
wars.
I would say in terms of teaching, people say, well, people are teaching, you know. So you say we need to teach. We are teachers here. But I think in terms of what you referring to, because I too does be making a statement, we have to be direct what we teaching. You know, we just most time everybody teaching, but the majority of people teaching spirit, not principle, not ethics, not the morals, but they will teach about spirit. So you spend your whole life knowing everything about the spirit. But how do you carry yourself and connect with the spirit? That is a whole different story. All right, not knocking
I
nobody's
understand
way
what
of
you're saying.
teaching. You know,
Women are
yeah,
the custodians of the past, the present, and the future.
I see.
If we do not make it our major role to teach the woman and to change the mindset of ignorance and illiteracy that have been misinformation that have been placed and taught to them from birth, there's not going to be a change. Once the women rise, the men will follow. And until such time, we are going to see the chaotic and disorder energies taking place, because not enough emphasis is being on women, the teaching of women and girls, and bringing their mind into a balance, that they understand themselves, and they understand that God relates to each of us as individuals. We all have that DNA. We all hold that chromosome. We have that God element within us, each and every one of us, male and female. But to awaken it or to align it in such a way in a woman or a girl is to empower her. to give her that true independence, freedom, that liberty that is spoken of.
Right.
So until such time when eminence is given to teach and truly nurture women and girls, there's always going to be disorder.
True.
We are not going to have that chance to rise.
Funny as you said that, there's this morning somebody in discussion, somebody was speaking in terms of, oh, why are these young girls only running behind these set of babas and things? But I was saying, it's not they're running behind them. They are running at a frequency that is way beyond what women are basically discussing in this space and time. Well, most women discussing this space and time in their level of spirituality. So where they get the excitement of seeing the babas and the sorcerers and the grandmasters and them going into a level of spirituality, it excites them because they are the essence that the same babas and them basically really excelling into. So it have a social negative, but there is also a spiritual esoteric impact that people need to discuss, because I was telling them, where are the sororities to ensure that the young females don't need to go to no baba or no sorcerer or no grandmaster, but there's a fraternity which they can come to, in which they can find that spirituality that they're excited about, because it is in us. Just as how we just want to be excited to play drums as fellas and kill a goat, and same thing, the female will have something to be excited about in the spirituality. But where or how can we really put that avenue for them, open that space for them? What you would say?
Well, there are those of us, I guess, because we work so private and secluded, it is time that we come out into the open and really try to get the female populace into the right mindset of thinking. But it is difficult in the sense because the same men that would support you to empower women and girls are the same men who would deny you, or who would seek to shame you, embarrass you, to bring you down because of envy, because of ego.
Well, can we say men, or maybe those who may not have risen to understand the importance of the female rising? Because now I understand what you're saying, but in putting it in a perspective as to, okay, we who have been awakened, not we who religiously inclined, because I always say we have to start to separate when we discuss what is religiously inclined or expected and what is spiritual movement and spiritual expectations, right? We who would have been awakened and can understand something in the spiritual context would basically walk in a different light as to those who still religious and try to build, more build the church rather than build the individuals. All right. I have an issue. I just tell members, I don't want no followers. I try to build leaders. So once you understand, you could go and take a group to the direction where your vision is, and I could continue my vision, and I don't have to keep going back to a student every time somebody wants to learn. I have to go back to ABC to teach somebody. But in terms of how do we get people to really differentiate if they are walking out religious path or the spiritual path? I think they where we just get problem, because people will be talking and say, no, like religion. They say, no, the spiritual. I say, you're basing it on religion.
Religion and spirituality is two different things.
All right.
Religion seeks to have each and every individual like mind, like thoughts, same manner of prayer, same manner of worship, congregation. That is based on religion. Spirituality takes you to different domains and shows you, teaches you that each and every religion, each and every idea, each and every order leads you or carries knowledge based upon the divinity or the creative principle. So every knowledge is piecemeal. There's a piece of knowledge within every order or every religious-based system. You just have to know how to take it out of it and create something new for yourself. We are all individuals. We are all different. We all carry different patterns, fingerprints, DNA. You know, what makes you think that God or the creator envisioned for us to be part of one order or one system?
True. And this is where this why I say no, this is why no people have to understand the separation from spirituality from religion. And spirituality don't really mean doing magic and all kind of ceremonials. And spirituality is really living in that balance with nature. Seeing God in every human, seeing God in every plant, seeing God in everything. So the respect you'll have for your environment, your space, your community, that is really spirituality. It will have, well, Baba, if I very don't like to use the word cult, but they may have some cultic or cultural aspect to how some people will find or make the connections with that balance of connecting with nature. Like the Hindu will sit and do their puja, the Yoruba will do their ceremonies before the flag, they feed their rishas. Those who will yoga, do their yoga, meditate, go on the mountain. So there are different ways, cultural way, but it all really, how do we respect the God within and express that God relationship with those outside of us? You know, in terms of, they say the greatest law is love thy neighbor as you love thyself. Is my neighbor only the man living next door? Or is it not also the plant, the trees, also my neighbor? You know? I don't know if you agree with me.
I hear what you say, my brother. But until we come to that like mind and that thinking where we understand that God manifests itself, or the energy that we call God by these many different names, manifests itself through nature. Nature, as we say, Gaia or Isis or As.
Yeah.
She have 10,000 names that protects us in 10,000 ways. She harnessed everything that the creator needs within her womb.
All right. But is she mandated to do that, or is it that we have to have a proper relationship to ensure that protection?
It's designed so. It is designed in such a way. When Atom created himself out of the chaotic primordial waters of Nun, he created himself being enlightened, and then he brought forth, well, there's a whole story behind that. But he brought forth a hill where he stood upon, and from that where he viewed the horizon, or he viewed the essence of the earth or his creation, he created beings, and he made the god of air, Shu, and the goddess of moisture, Tefnut. And then a unification began, and they created Geb and Nut. But that is just one piece of the story. That is a part of the story in the pantheon of many gods, many cultures, many traditions all over the world.
Because why I ask the question in that sense is, for most time people believe that, okay, God is love. So anything I could do, God will love me. So I have to worry about nothing, because they say, well, he is forgiven. So it gives people perspective that basically I don't have to really do nothing, because, you know, everything's supposed to be all right, man. They created to do that. But our relationship and our growth is really how we relate to the essence of God, which is in all of nature. And one of the highest, because in terms of us as man, our highest, even however we see them, is a woman, our mother, our sister, our daughter, because they are the one that give us life. Just as
the mother was the first God. The mother is the first God.
Because
she who brought you forth nurtured you, suckled you. You know, she clothed you, she fed you,
now
she took care of you.
right,
She is your God.
because when we look at how even the Ifa creation story, it will speak about the first human was created was a female, right? And she gave birth to 16 children. And those 16 children was the start of the human creation. Not they interacted, but they were the, or say, the template. And then they had the correlation with the different Orishas. But if you understand all this, what it has been read in terms of the creation story, it is all happening in terms of the womb. You understand? Now, when people talk about the only gateway from heaven onto earth is through coming out from the womb and to our mother. You know, like
yes, it is through the womb.
Somebody was
The womb
saying,
of a woman, not an artificial. That's the womb of a woman.
of the womb. I know somebody is saying we should be so grateful for our mother because she could have take a tablet and done the whole story and we'd never be telling anybody anything. But it shows the power within, because even if you read some of the creation story, it is the expression one. You know, in terms of, not everybody biblical, but I'll just use a biblical because we don't say Ifa, and a lot of people do have Ifa literature, but they would have been indoctrinated since 5 years old in going Bible school. But when the Spirit, let us make man after our image and in our likeness, you can see the feminine energy operating there. Even when you talk with Jeremiah, he said, even before you were conceived in your mother's womb, I knew you. I ordained you prophet, priest, and king. Now, in that aspect, it comes as a woman will choose who she wants her seeds or children to be born from. You know, they look at man, yes, boy. You know, they select. And all these
even
things,
even in the animal kingdom, they select the best species in order to make
yeah.
But
So
where the
a bird had to
humankind come in,
dance up to himself. The cock had to prove himself. Well, there's some Ripper man cock now. The hen just walk with one and next one. But it's saying nature always have a way of there's always the continuation, and the continuation being by there's certain protocols of nature. So not because a man you know, today, well, we judge people by how much money they have, not necessarily the character. So just as I say with the bird had to show you beautiful feathers. He had to show he could sing well. He had to show that his character is above all the other fellas there. Same time, the lion and the gorilla, they have to show, hey, I could beat all these other guys to be the one to lead the pack. You know, but now we may change our culture, but it still goes about that. Still, we have to that balance and that recognition to live and carry ourselves in a respectful way in terms of how we treat the feminine or the feminine or the female energies or the, I say, that goddess that is around us and relates with us. You know?
a man will bow down to the effigy, a female effigy. He will bow down at the shoreline of the river and at the sea.
You may even bow down
But
to
to
a
bow
statue of a
down,
man.
but to bow down at the living form, the epitome of a goddess, he will not. Do you see, this is the mindset that we need to come up, we need to change. And as I say, I would always emphasize, unless we bring the woman and the female, the girls into like mind and understanding themselves, acceptance of themselves, and the balance, to create the balance between the reality and nature, there will always be chaos. There will always be chaos.
Let me read this from the Yami, a book from Yami Osoronga. What you do to me, I will do to you. The tree in the field has a crown on its head. The tree is the meeting place for Yami. The crown is the power of Yami as symbolized by the Oba's crown, which includes images of birds. This is reference to the balancing principle implicit in their spiritual function as elemental spirits. They represent the forces of protection, abundance, and peace. Right? Just as I say in terms of women understanding themselves, they should even see where they are represented in, even in the highest position in our tradition, as to the crowns of king. So when they see birds, they walk with staff or a crown with a bird on the headpiece. It represents the female energy. We just say Iami, Ia mother, my mother, Iami. Right? Everybody want to, oh, they are the powerful one, but women are the powerful one. A woman could break down the strongest of warrior and he could humble himself. Let me say Samson. What's Samson? Delilah. So
I
in
don't
what
really
you're saying,
follow biblical scriptures.
yeah, but in saying in reference to, even if you talk about Ogun, when all the warriors, they try to bring Ogun to come out of the forest, they say none of them could go and capture him. And this little woman named Oshun came to the village and said, what is the problem? We need to get our king from the forest. He has gone mad after all these years out fighting war, and he don't want to come to sit on the throne. He said, I'll go and bring him out. So you, a little woman like you, nah, you can't do that. And she went with she little calabash of sacred ointment, and she had she little scarf, skirt around she waist, and she go and singing a song. So good hearing this song, be a mad what you'll hear something, mad people pay attention to things as well. So he hearing and he going, he so listen, and she going towards way to him. And when he come close, she do so, she take the pen and pass it on the lip. He tastes this thing. What? So he grab the whole calabash and he put it to his head. She take the scarf and wrap him up and took him back into the village. Now these simple stories just show that women don't even have to use aggression to bring influence to male, or bring to even the people, female, male, female, because when there's a problem, father can't get to do it, mommy does find a way to get it to do it.
Yes.
You understand? So there's all this story really show that there is the importance of the female energy. Even the story when they speak about all the Romulus, the 16th Romulus came to the earth, and oh my, what happened to the 17th? Nah, that one we don't need she. And they try, and they could not get it done. So they went up to little Mary, Baba, well, we try everything, but we're not getting this creation thing down, you know, everything falling apart. He said, they asked the 17th person, Oshun. Yeah. Well, that is where the story Usher Tura really came about. But I say sometimes we'll go into that, but I don't want to lose it from the feminine. So he was saying, without Oshun, without water, cement can't stand. You can't make cement. Without water, you can't cook. So he was showing the importance of Oshun in all the things that were needed in terms of creation. Right? So
yes.
I'll just say, we need a basic, because now I think I was discussing today in terms of, yes, the woman, but you have to also consider the children. So once you cater for women, the children will be catered for in a sense. But there's a thing, can you say there's a female problem in terms of female coming together or working together?
Yes. It is something that has been going on for a long time. Like I said, it has been caused by the divination. It has been caused by religion, culture, norms, just things in society on the whole. In slavery and so forth. Because I believe that the mind or the mind carries or harnesses trauma that has taken place in the past.
So we have to
and it is somehow transferred to the young ones.
Well, you're kind of referring to the Willie Lynch
the syndrome, yes. Yes, a lot of us still suffer from that. They still suffer from that syndrome. They still suffer from it. And as I said, I'm not one to sound like a feminist. I am not a feminist. I am just one who advocates for the empowerment and the education of women and girls. Once a woman is aligned to nature spiritually, she would enhance, and she would teach her own children, by extension, family members, and so forth.
All right. I see recently there was another group, they had a discussion on polygamy and marriage, multiple marriage. Do you think this could help, or is there still need to deal with the trauma before really a principle as such can be taken? Because I think polygamy would be like a sorority surrounding one male entity. I don't know what's your view on it.
I don't have a negative view on polygamy. I see it as ideas and energies coming together to create, to enhance each other, to build and empower oneself. I don't see anything wrong with polygamy once it is in keeping with that structure, and there is honesty and transparency in the communal relationships.
All right. I like how you use that in that phrase, because I just say some people anytime the problem say, no, well, you may have a guy with 3 or 4 women to somebody who's living to the principles of polygamy. And sometimes now the principles is where there's a certain balance, as I say, agreement between all parties, and there's a structure. But a lot of people are using it without the structure and things. Well, I'm practicing tradition, Muslim, whatever, Ifa. But see, because when we look at it, as you were talking earlier, that there's a lot of young females who coming in and looking to step up into their level of consciousness, and within their space or within their age group may not have the people to work with them. Do you think that is a problem in terms of where people see that as an issue?
Repeat the question.
All right. Like I always say, a lot of young females is running behind the babas and these grandmasters and the sorcerers. All right. So I'm saying, because I have to look at things both ways. Why would they run? Because what they are looking for in terms of where their spiritual mental understanding is, those fellas or people at their age may not be at that level. So they find that they may not find that relationship exciting. So they go to the grandmasters, the babas, and whatnot. All right. Do you see that? No, we understand it because we see it, but no, everybody just look at it in one way. But as a female, what do you think in terms of these young? Because I was glad if some of the young sisters could write up and put a question. All right. But what you would think in terms of what just asked there?
In days of old, when they used to have arranged marriages, or the older people come together and they pick a spouse for the girl, it was not based upon his age or his ego or whatever. It was based upon land. It was based upon
his stature,
right? So that this girl would have something to, if they desire, to develop, to advance, to enhance, not only for herself but her children. Right? I don't believe, or I don't see where you say that the young people or the young girls are running behind the grandmasters and the babas and whatnot. I mean,
no, that's what me down too, So
if that is the situation, then they should have at least the conscious mind. If you're going into a relationship with someone, you should know what you're going into the relationship for.
All right.
It doesn't make sense that you're in a relationship with someone and at the end of it all, you're hungry the next day.
All right. Now this is what I said. Because remember, when we look at our community is based on spirituality. You can be broken poor, but you know plenty spirit, you are recognized. Right? Now, as I say, there's certain stature. Why I just try to tell people the idea of this discussion is for us as a community now to step up our game, step up our play. I just tell Baba, well, he say not a political program, but as a politician, I also would like to talk politics in terms of our traditional politics, in terms of how do we structure our politics, economics, education, when do we sit and really put these things together, right? So you find that issues, we could talk about halfway house for battered women, you know, foster
You
home.
know that is why it have elders.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I remember when I was a little girl, my grandparents, my grandfather, and other
Mm-hmm.
older men used to come together and they used to sit and talk. The women would sit together and all the older women would sit and discuss things that were taking
Mm-hmm.
place around them.
All right. Mm.
And it had a solution by morning.
Ah,
So where
so
are the community elders? We
so
have
this
no
is
more
where it's
elders in
the
the
village
communities.
is the village used to grow up the child,
Yes.
right? And well, those era, well, it may happen in some private spaces, but as I say, in a community, because I grew up in a village. Now I'm still in the village, and elders with a gray beard, greater than mine, will come and say, "Yeah, you smell my grandson." Yes, oh boy, and so they'll still recognize me, and they'll relate with me because the level of respect, because they were the one who was disciplining me. I cannot talk back to them, right? So the village actually grew me to who I was today in terms of certain aspect. In terms of the traditional aspect, I could still say the same because from small it just run into be it Baptist prayers, be it Orisha, be it shouters. It was always that communal thing, and Marple or leader thing will cut your tail if you get trouble. You understand? You're not walking into no space, and especially when the mother don't disrespect no mother, because by the time you reach up, you the stand cut till you get. You understand?
I see that Ifa Bay
Yeah.
wants
Oh,
to say
Bemiru,
something.
No, all
you have
right.
a bigger contribution.
Well, Grand Queen, my name is Ifa Bemero Adifonju Orisha Bemi.
Ifa Bemero. Okay. Thank you for the
Yes.
correction.
Yeah, and I've been sort of following everything very closely that has been said. And as far as the Isheshe, as far as Ifa Orisha tradition is concerned, much of what you have suggested is in fact a great part also of the tradition, right? I would give one example. The title Olori
Mm-hmm.
is a title that is only given to women. And the first part is two words, is a compounded word or a contracted word that has Olo or Olowo and Ori at the end of it. This title is a title only given to women, and this title implies that women are the owners of the Ori or the crown. In the
Mm-hmm.
tradition, no king ascends the throne without the approval of the senior woman of the community, the elder woman.
Oh,
That does not happen anywhere in Africa up till today.
Mm.
No man could sit on any throne without that approval.
and what of in Trinidad?
What of in Trinidad?
You
Based
don't talk to
upon
religion.
Ifa, based upon Yoruba teachings or
Well,
gatherings.
What
well,
are the well? All right,
go ahead,
Baba, you
Baba.
go ahead. No, no, you address it
Nah.
because apparently you wish
No,
to do so.
okay. We have never had a proper structure as of now, where there's now the International Council of Ifa Religion Trinidad and Tobago chapter or Congress,
Mhm.
which is really starting to put things in place. And I think, because remember, we had the Orisha Council of Elders, but they were still trying to really restructure themselves into a functioning body. So we never had really where we had a structure to set principles. Now, just coming now soon will be the elections for the vice president for the different regions. So as I, who is a contestant, have same, okay, my vision for my region is that we we structure ourselves that we could now put all the necessary principles to bring moral integrity, respect into our community, and nobody had to ask, how do we move forward in our district? All the district may not be the same. All the people may not be the same, but we had to set templates because it had those who follow the tradition, but also had those who are bounded by the religion. All right. Now, when we talk about Babalao, his role is in terms of running a temple. We have those who deal with Isheshe, which is just the traditional aspect, which will deal with the teachings of different functions of the tradition, which incorporates the religious aspect and also is structured or balanced by the spiritual. So we do not really have a collective thing because we 50 years, Baba, I think it is 50 years, we really has been an independent or recognized religion in Trinidad and Tobago. And we really never really had something structured to identify how our religion or how the spirituality really would grow and was the principle set. Even today, we have many people initiated, but right now initiated in different lineages. So hopefully with the International Council for Religion now, the lineages will collaborate, and now we will put basically a proper structure that can take care of the young, the old, the female, the male, and all aspects of our tradition. All right.
Baba, I just want to interject to say this.
Yeah.
Grand Queen, as quiet
Yes.
as it's kept, let me tell you something. For the duration of time I've been in the Ifa community, let me say this to you. We may not have officially, as part of the Isheshe here, the recognition of our elder females to make determinations as to who ascend into positions of authority officially. But let me tell you what happens unofficially, which I am sure you two are aware of. If a person is selected for leadership by the general body and the female elder members of the community disapproves of that person, their reign in most instances is very short.
Mm. Mm.
And
Yes.
normally, because of the level of influence of these women, generally, the person isn't fully given an opportunity to function in their position. This has been my observation.
Mm.
I
So
agree with you.
it might be quietly kept, but that aspect of the tradition is still very real right here. A person's reputation, a person's credibility, a person's ability to elevate is greatly determined by the female members of our community.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So I hope that answers
Who
that
are
question.
influenced.
No, well, guess what?
No,
Yes,
no, no, but
yes, it does.
Most of the barbers in this country who are elders have wives.
yeah. Yeah.
You heard my statement here?
Mm.
And
Yes, yes, I did.
most of the junior AWOs who are ascending into position, a lot of them have wives.
Mm-hmm.
And if collectively the women in the community are having discussions about particular leaders and potential leaders, it will affect their ascension into a position of authority.
But I would also like to say they have wives, but how many of these wives can truly speak freely?
Yeah, that is a question that doesn't have an answer. But what I can tell you is that most of my elders, most of the seniors who I am
Mm-hmm.
around, I am telling you, they value their wives' opinions. And some of them openly expresses that to me.
That is beautiful. Beautiful.
All right. So I can't speak for all the leaders
That's the
and
fall.
all the barbers, but I'm telling you, the ones who I am around, they would say, well, the wifey says so and so, or the wifey advised me so and so. Or they would say, you see this piece of work here? All of this here was what she suggested. All right. So I am telling you
Understood.
from what I know, most of them go to their wives and discusses a lot of things and takes the advice of their wife.
Okay, buddy.
Okay, thank you for that.
All right, okay. So, Granky, you're comfortable. Yeah. Yeah. But so, as I say, privately, it do happen, but publicly to say, well, really have a structure, because when I'm a politician, I look at things openly. All right.
Mm-hmm.
But that's saying we there's a lot happening and a lot is opening for us in our spirituality. All right. And there are certain factors because yes, now we're talking about the woman. We have to someday now come and look at what do we have really for our children, right? But now that direction have to come from the woman as well, right? Because remember they are the nurturers. So if you go in tradition, remember the men go out to hunt, and the woman the one who governs and structures the whole scenario as how it run. And as we were
Mm-hmm.
talking about polygamy, as Baba said, the Olari, which is the head wife, is the one who ensures balancing the whole collective community. So ensure everybody is taken care of by, well, you could, you know, if you use the term grand queen, that is Olori, right?
I hear you.
Right.
Also, Baba,
Mm.
I mean, you always raise the issue of polygamy, and I keep
Yeah.
telling you that that's
No,
a
when
tough
people keep
one.
calling me, keep
It's a
bringing it in
tough
my
one.
eyes.
It's a controversial one.
Yeah.
It
Is
is.
one
It is
that
in Trinidad.
is
It is.
is
Yeah.
one. Well, not just Trinidad. In most of the diaspora, it's very problematic, right? The effects of slavery, the plantation model
Mm.
Mm.
that has filtered its way into the lifestyles of the current society we live in, where the landmarks of colonialism still exist. In Trinidad, you
Yes.
cannot marry more than one wife. It's illegal.
Mm.
Now, I didn't say it unlawful, eh? I know the word I used. Illegal.
Illegal. Yeah.
All right, because there is a difference. What is lawful may not necessarily be legal,
Mm.
and what is legal may not necessarily be lawful.
Lawful. Mm.
All right, because a lot of the legal stuff that we rules that we are required to follow are contrary to the laws of nature. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Some communities practice polygamy as part of their tradition, regardless of what the laws are in the country.
Mm.
Some people place tradition before legality. All right. Now, that in itself, as far as a political viewpoint is concerned, are at opposite ends. The positions are at opposite ends. Right now, for me, Baba, this is where
Mm.
we probably separate.
Mm.
Right? My understanding of politics is the way we socialize.
Mm.
My understanding of politics is your network. That is my understanding of
Mm.
politics. Politics have nothing to do with party
Mm.
dividing the populace in two pieces or three pieces in order so that some people could wear jackets and
So
tie and
I'm
have
going
access
here. So.
to the whole pot
Mm.
simply because they're educated. I don't, that is not my
Mm.
understanding of politics, right? Even the most common man practice
Mm.
politics, and his
Yeah.
politics is the
Mm.
way he socializes, the
Yeah.
people he affiliate with, the people he does business with, the people he spends his money among.
Mm.
That, in essence, is
Yeah,
what
it's
I
political, the political
understand
side.
politics
Yeah,
to
you're correct.
mean.
You're correct.
The science
Mm.
has to do with how you network in order to advance your purpose.
Your purpose
Now,
and
that, my
ideas.
friend, or that understanding of politics is in firm alignment with Ifa Orisa, and I would
Mm.
explain to you how so. According to the Odus, a lot of us who come to Aye from Orun, we come here with many of our peers who also were in Orun with us. And because of our association with our peers from Orun who lives in Ayub together in our lifetime, we are able to easily accomplish the fulfillment of our destiny. So the way that you socialize as far as the rules and the ethics of Ifa Orisa is concerned, you should align yourself with people who would aid you in the fulfillment of your destiny. These people are called your egg bear.
Egg bear.
All right? So understanding politics and relating it to Ifa Orisa is going to be a little bit different to how the term politics are thrown around. Let me say this. The politics you speak about is what is called party
Yeah, party
politics,
Party
which has
politics
to do with
anyway.
dividing something, splitting it straight down the middle, having some people on one side and some other people on the other side, where the populace is divided in their political viewpoints as to who they support to run the affairs of the country. All right, so that is where I digress from you. But let me go back now to the colonial influence on family lifestyles. The plantation model that was used, for that matter, there is a paper written on it by Lloyd Best, and Levitt. It's called the Best and Levitt theory, where they show that the plantation system is basically what is still run today as political structures. All right? In that system, you have the plantation owners, and then you would have the house slaves. You would have the overseers, and then you would have those who work on the field or the neck jardin. That is the word they use. The field Negro, for those who work out in the field. Now, the family structure that was put in place by the colonial masters was basically a breeding facility. Right? The African man wasn't allowed to have no wife. All right? There are even
breeders
terms
and
that
studs.
they are even right derogatory terms we use today, like the MF term. That is in reference to a man's ability to reproduce. It doesn't matter who, if they put him to sleep with his own mother to produce offsprings, that is what he has to do.
Yeah.
If they put him to sleep with his own sister, his niece, his cousin, he has to do so. These are the type of social patterns that were developed. As a result of that, the family types that we have for many years since the beginning of this slavery, right? Because that's a whole other conversation with me and that term slavery.
Yeah.
But the pattern is that you have what's called a visiting relationship.
Yeah.
So the girl will stay in her mother's house, and she may have a child for John, and John will come and visit and drop things off for the child. If that relationship don't work out, if the granny and the tanty don't like him, girl, I don't want to see that boy come back here. Don't bring that boy by this house.
Yeah.
You know, we really like Thompson for you, you know. You may not like Thompson. That the next child you have might be for Thompson. And then auntie and grandmother grow to dislike Tom too, because they realize Tom is a little selfish, whatever, because he have a little privilege, because his father has some, you know, some a little money or whatever.
Henry.
Right? So then it's Henry come, and Henry had a, so everybody dropping a little something. You know what I'm saying? This is the type of society that has evolved, or that are the products of those type of things. We still see it today. Many of our households are maternal in nature. And I don't mean to go so deep, but I just want to say that now for you to come and want to talk about polygamy in a conditioning that has taken place over the last 400 and something years is a great feat and a great challenge. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I'm saying it's very difficult. Now, mind you, my attempt is not to characterize our women negatively. So for all the female viewers, please don't take the last statement as that. What I am explaining is what has been taking place by the colonials, slave master, who
Mhm.
designed the system that we had to survive. All right?
All right.
Etymologically, we can't be slaves. Slavs is a group of people. That is the nationality.
That is nationality.
We not no slave, never was no slave.
Well,
But that
I never
word
experienced.
describe a nationality of people.
That one
And with
I
that,
don't say anything was special.
right, with that, I would just say this. It's not that polygamy is not necessary. It's not that it doesn't provide solutions to a lot of the problems. It's not that it cannot work, right? But because of our conditioning, it's a very difficult proposition.
Yeah.
All right. Also, too, because of our economic standing, it's a great challenge. Because, all right, I wouldn't even go there. I would
All
just,
right.
I would
No, you
just, I
What
should.
would
I,
You
just,
should. You should.
I would,
what,
You should to stop for that. You should. You should.
yeah, no. I would end there before I get myself in trouble.
all right. But what the
Right?
reason
Because
is,
I recently married. I don't want my wife fall out with me
uh,
when
all
she
right,
view
all
this
right.
show.
Well, we hope peace be in the thing. But the reason why that's bring it up now is not I'm encouraging it. I say it's who basically wish to follow it. But so now the whole idea of it, where the problem most time, not to say encourage it, is but that fraternity, that trust among sisters to sisters, that sorority. I think that is really more the try to see because if it can't work out between them, it can't work out nobody. The man could be how powerful, the man
Baba,
could be how loud. You understand?
Baba, let me tell
Uh,
you this,
Remember,
right?
remember, we still have to go through
uh,
all this training with women, breaking
no,
that
right.
generational
No,
thing
Listen,
and that
this
old
was saying,
there is
mindset.
a
this was saying,
there is
it
a
can't work.
sister. There's a sister that was associated to the Nation of Islam called Shahrazad Ali.
Uh,
Shahrazad Ali.
Shazad.
She wrote several
Shazad.
books,
Uh,
right? The issue is that we have been so conditioned through the process of being broken and made into a different people from who we used to be, that the
mm,
values that we accept today are all foreign to us.
true.
So
Mhm.
it is very difficult for us to try to get our people to go back to Isheshe.
Mm,
And again, this is why we have programs like these.
mm,
We have programs like these so we could discuss things and we could demystify a lot of what is a great part of the Ifa Orisha tradition. It is good that we could have a guest like Queen Moot who could explain her position and where we could draw the parallels
mm,
with what she understands and her experience together with ours so that people could see that we are not really different at all.
No, we're
That
not.
the tradition that we have inherited from our ancestors, and I'm not making reference to the colonial system, the plantation model. I'm not referring to that, but I'm referring to Isheshe. Within
yeah,
it has all
tradition.
of the solutions to the problems we have in,
Mm,
because it is not only a working system, but it's a tried and true system that has evolved over thousands of years, and that is why it works. All right, and with that, I would, count myself out,
uh,
and I mean, we already
yeah, yeah,
exceeded
yeah, like see the minute. So,
by
so
9 minutes.
yeah, so Grand Queen.
Yes.
So, what words of message you like to share with your sisters and them out there? Is after celebrating this beautiful full moon, I'm sure there was plenty inspiration and intuitive messages would have come out for the female getting in balance, finding the alignment. Would you like to share something?
One thing I can say is it is time, and the alignments of the planets are right. The air is right. The elements are right, and everything is in favor for the feminine divinity to rise and to be glorified and to be harnessed and taken up in her daughters, and to be nurtured, and for us to carry it forth in a positive manner, in a positive way, not just for ourselves, but to leave a legacy for our children to follow upon.
Ashe. Actually, Baba, I think one of the reading we had over the last 3 years spoke about allowing women to rise in our communities. That was actually one of the annual readings
the
that
annual
we
reading,
had.
I think that was 2019, 2020.
Yeah, about 3 years, roughly about 3 years ago.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Because that was going into the party politics when they say the woman would be victorious. They say Ogun could not have finished the war. It is mother of Ogun that would have won the war. And it's still coming back to reflect that, we have to continue to prostrate ourselves before the woman in terms of give them the due respect that is required of them. Right? Well, they say we go to Odu, is the feminine energy. We go to Ajay, feminine energy. We are Ajere, feminine energy. So we always going to think, but let us connect with the female.
The feminine energy, listen, I'll just give this one essay, Ifa, before we leave, right?
I don't think that one. Yeah.
All the Himalayas was meeting up. And Urunmila was also going to the house of whichever one of them the meeting was at. So on his way, he saw this old lady. And he decided, well, you know what? Look, when I reach. Let me help this old lady carry the bag. So the old lady asked him, she said, son, I notice you're walking fast. Where you really going? So he tells the elderly lady, he says to her, well, there is a meeting of all the Himalayas, right? And what has to be done at that meeting is a head has to be installed. Right? So it turns out that the house that he was going to was the home of one of the Himalayas, and that Himalaya was the elderly
son.
lady's son. So the elderly lady tell him, she said, well, when they reach to the house now, she said, this heap of rocks here, stand up right here and don't move. Stand up like it's a statue. Don't move at all. So she go inside, and all the Himalayas and them, they and they grumbling. What is so me, that boy? Oh, this man always late for everything. How this man, he young, but he have a right here to be on time. He disrespectfully, this, see that, he the other. So the mother goes in and she tells her son, who was the host, she said, listen, she say, I see all the rest of the others here and everything. She say, where Urunmila? So the son said, well, he ain't come yet, he late, he did see that. The mother tell him, she said, listen, go outside and see if you see somebody standing up on the left-hand side there on a pile of rock. Because she said he probably has been standing there a very long time, and all they're so busy coming in here and wanting to come first that all they probably totally ignore this man who was here before everybody else. As a result of that favor, he ended up getting the head position. Right? But at the end of all of that, that old lady, guess who that old lady really was who converted into that old lady and all of that? One of the closest friends of Urunmila, and that was Eshu. And I'll close with that.
I thought they said the mother of Eshu. I thought what they said the mother of Eshu.
No, it wasn't Eshu's house. It was one of the senior Himalayas house.
And they shows in simple stories how important and the wise simple wisdom of the female, because I'm grandmother grown, all my wisdom come from granny and all my discipline. So here mut accept secret mat asta I had a chemistry title, you know. Yeah, when I say Mojo Bao, let my all of Yala Bajusu for us, you know. I practiced so much about that I lost my chemistry. You know, all my netter, you know, netter and all them things. But it was thank you for your participation, you know, contribution as to that you could get a different perspective as to the issues, and making the conversation a little more enlightening. We hope that we
Thank
could.
you for having me.
I have you
Nojet
some other time again.
Ashab Renew.
Right. So we may invite again to go into that committing understanding at a different level.
Yeah.
We just have a discussion about something. We have to open the doorway for certain things, and especially maybe some of the cycles. We could invite you that you do a invocation of blessing into the community through your system of spirituality. All right. So Grand Queen, again,
That
we thank you.
sounds wonderful.
And we hope that we will have your presence again. And we're also inviting others to come, as we say, share, like, subscribe, and let the message go, let the discussion go out. It's not about looking for take over, dominate, no field, but it's that there are things we need to discuss to come to a conclusion. We can make the conclusion, but we could open the conversation as others have, and then someday we could sit where it's really necessary to set the agenda straight as what it is. We will go as a community in going forward. I say Abo, Aboye, Abo Shishe.
And Odabo.
Odabo.